Today, we're going to talk about embracing change and the unknown. Hi, it's Cheryl Sitz.
And Mario Rosales.
We're welcoming you to another episode of Exploring Possibilities, helping you transform life from the inside out. We've been broadcasting since 2012 through journeyofpossibilities.com, and you will find new shows on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, and youtube.com/Cheryl Sitz. Over 250 episodes, all free to you. But we would love for you to show us some love back so that we can keep doing this. We do have time invested and resources. So buy us a cup of coffee, won't you? You can do that at journeyofpossibilities.com/support. We will get on with the show in just a moment. But first, Mario, what have you been up to with the fractal thing?
Well, my astral fractals have been just developing them right now. My next step, I'm trying to figure out how to create an animation with music on all of that. And that there's more things to come about that. You and I are working on something together.
Yes, we're going to have an event. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be, well, once all this funkiness lifts and we can have events again.
Yeah, in the meantime, astrofractal.com, astrofractalsplural.com. And you can go in there. It's basically your birthday, your full name, and numerology. And it creates a fractal out of a formula I've created. That took me about 5 years to create. So it was a lot of fun. And I finally figured out how to do it. And there you go.
Yes, and they're wonderful to meditate with. So you can put it on your computer, you can have it blown up and put it on a wall tapestry, you can put it anywhere you want to put it and meditate with it. And it's you in fractal form. So they're really powerful.
Yeah, they actually do a lot to you. I mean, during the meditation, you can concentrate on them and you'll be surprised some of the things that come out of it. It's really great.
astrofractals.com. Well, today I had another repeat of something that happened a month ago where at the very last minute, my guest for the day canceled. And these have been through no fault of theirs. Life seems to be happening this way for many of us. Unexpected things popping up all over the place. So it seemed like a perfect time while I was trying to cope with change and the unknown to talk about that because so many people are experiencing right now.
They are? No, I've not experienced anything. I've just been locked up for a few years. All right. It feels like a few years.
It does feel like a few years. Yes. I think when we look back at 2020, we're going to recognize it as the year that we all needed to become better at living in the unknown and managing change because things are happening quickly right now that leave us uncertain about tomorrow, uncertain about our finances, uncertain about our health, uncertain about everything.
Oh, that's for sure. I thought I was able to manage change and handle it really well. And, you used to call me the blank Buddha, and even I'm going into it. And not that I'm perfect or anything, but man, it's really testing me in every possible way. It's testing patience, adapting to change, the unknown, the ...
And just in case you weren't aware of what I called him my fucking little Buddha. It's my show. I can use the F-bomb. And I did that not because I have anything against Buddha, but because, we could be in the middle of an earthquake and Mario would be over there meditating. And I'm like, oh, please. We're on this world. You got to feel this world with me. I don't go into that Zen crap right now because I'm not feeling Zen. Life gets hairy sometimes, and it even has unsettled you lately.
Like I said, it's even messed me up. So it's interesting because the way I deal with things is having to change also.
Yes.
And that's the back to the theme of what we're talking about. Change becomes a very important thing in this. And we have to be comfortable with that change. And our society doesn't teach us that.
You're right. Well, it hasn't before, but I think today's world is going to learn how to handle it better than we have in the past because we haven't had to handle it quite the pace we're handling it now. So I wanted to kind of use today what I went through the process to come up with this show as an example for how I moved through change and the unknown. When I thought we were going to be about something else, I did all the promo material, all the literature, all the imagery, everything for today's show for a completely different topic. And so there's the moment that you're upset, right? Because you're expecting to do something and life's throwing you another curveball. And then for me, the way to shift gears is to get quiet and go within. And I'm a very passionate person, so that has not always been my way. I used to throw a temper tantrum and yell and scream to anybody within 10 miles. And Mario's laughing at me over here because he remembers.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I plead the fifth.
So for those of us that are not the Zen Buddha type all the time, like me, it's really been valuable to me to learn to take a moment. Some people call it 3 deep breaths. Some people call it the pause. Some people call it whatever you want to call it. It's so valuable for our health and our sanity to stop and go within where everything is always fine and reset to that space once we've had our outburst if we need to do so.
That's that's the biggest most important part. You have to allow that release. And the release is different to everybody. Some people cry, some people scream, some people beat their box or their punching bag or whatever.
Not a person.
Not a person. No, don't do that. Now that's really wrong. Though with this whole COVID thing, we can get into a whole discussion about that.
That's
too.
another show.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. The getting still is so important, but you can't get still and hear spirit or hear the calm place or any of that if you've got all that emotion that you haven't let yourself release yet. And I think that's a tricky place for a lot of light workers because we tend to want to be in the light and love and how wonderful it all is. But if you're angry or if you're frustrated, it's important as a human being to own that emotion, allow it to flow through so that you can get to that space underneath.
Yeah, and the only way you and I talk about this a lot. I say it all the time. It's like we're in this 3D world, and we have to go through the 3D experience, no matter whether you like it, whether you think you're 5D, 6D, 10, or whatever you think you are. You have to allow yourself to go through these emotions because our souls came here to learn that experience from here and get lessons from it, or maybe not, or whatever your beliefs are. But you're here in this 3D world. If you're still here, there's a segment of your body, your soul, or something that is wanting something out of this. So you have to allow that to go through. And that's why if you want to be in that happy place all this time, how's that working for you today when you're surrounded by a lot of people that are not happy?
And a lot of people are isolating themselves so they don't have to deal with it because the only way they can be in their happy place is if they unplug from everything else. And that's great as a self-care tool, but it's not a place to live. Like we came to live, we are a connected species and we need to connect. And I feel like a lot of this right now is calling us to express our truth, to come to our truth and use our voice, open that throat chakra and use our voice to speak our truth. So the first thing is to express the feeling that you're feeling right now, and then to get to that still place and feel how supported we always are by spirit, by our guides, by our ancestors. We're never alone. And then, what do I need right now is a really good thing to ask. What do I need to be ready to move forward? So before we shifted topics, came on this, there was my outburst, and then there was my still place. And then there was, what do I need right now? Well, I need to clear my throat. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to get the pets arranged. All right, let's try this again. And through all of that, I knew that this had to be the topic today because it comes up for me not just once in a while, but every single day. I have stuff going on in my subdivision. I have stuff going on in my bank account. I have stuff going on in my job. We all do, right? And with the virus and the closures, it's happening to everybody.
It's really testing us in every way because it's bringing change right in front of the place we never really wanted, right in front of us.
Yep.
And when we're confronted by that change, we always have a choice: do we go through it or do we not? And and if you don't, that's fine. But just realize for every decision we make, there's always a consequence.
Yes. And then it's interesting to look at, what am I expecting here? Do I have expectations? Because that's another way we can set ourselves up to be frustrated. It's great to have an intention because that kind of guides our movement and what we're calling to us through the law of attraction and the vibration we're putting out. But intention and expectation are not the same thing. An intention is, I am consciously creating a show today that's about change and about the unknown. Expectation would be, and I expect that Mario and I are going to have balanced things and we're going to have every comment's going to be wonderful. And it's a big difference, right? So I think that's another place where we need to live from intention, not expectation.
This is where I go back to the runes. I love to pull runes and read runes. it always brings me back to the void. It's the void rune. It's the one that has nothing. And it's ever since I read what it stands for, it's the nothing, it's the darkness, it's the unknown, it's the point of beginning, and it's point of the end. So when we're in change, we're in that void area. We're like, oh my goodness, it's like, what are we gonna do now? It's like, do we change it now, and we're creating, and that's what to me is the void. It's like we're creating, and that's all change is to me. We're in that constant void. We're in that constant void, and we are changing. So we're making up whatever we're going through.
I love that you said it's the end and then we're creating, because the end is the beginning. That's the cool thing. I remember how frustrated I was the first couple of times you pulled that blank rune on me. And I'm like, I'm looking for answers. I don't want no thing. I don't want no answer. But that's also the place of pure possibility.
Right.
The void is the place where the canvas has become blank again and we can create anything. But we're uncomfortable in the void. We like to think that we know what's going to happen next. And we do all this financial planning and career planning and family planning, and we are planning people.
Uh-huh.
And so that's great. Have plans, call them intentions, but have no expectation. Because when we create a plan, the universe has a way of laughing. So if we can live from intention, but not have an expectation, again, we're going to be a lot more fulfilled in our lives. Because oftentimes, and my best friend and I laugh about this all the time, what happens in our lives ends up being the last thing we really asked for, but it's exactly what we need and want. So if we can see that, because we're not all hung up on what we didn't get, we'll live with a lot more gratitude and appreciation and actually have fun a lot faster in whatever life throws our way.
It's the adaptable plan.
I like that. Yes, the adaptable plan.
Because if you plan it, then you're expecting. But if it's an adaptable plan, then it's changing as it goes along.
Yes. Yes. I've heard it also called the living prayer. Like, we ask for what we ask for and live within whatever alignment we live within. And then from moment to moment, that changes. And so we need to be conscious of what's happening in this moment and change with it and see the gift that's in the unexpected, because there are so many gifts that come to us in the last thing we asked for.
Definitely. I mean, look at as weird as it's going to sound, it's like, look at the gift of the riots. I mean, it's actually, in a weird way, it's unifying some people, and it's also making us question a lot of our beliefs about what this is or what that is. And I mean, and we're beginning to see a lot of things like that. And that's part, on top of that, adding to this COVID thing too. So it's forcing us to see viewpoints that we haven't been really pushed into viewing until right now.
Yes. I wish there were more protesting and less rioting, but yes, it seems like when we look back at 2020, it's going to be the year of the great snow globe, right? It's the shaking of the snow globe. Everything is being shaken up. And if we can stay with our truth and create with intention the world that we want to see happening in the future, we will bring about the change that we want for this place. It's really easy, though, to get sucked into what's wrong. I don't like the way that they rioted and looted and did all these things, and I'm angry about this and I'm angry about that. If we lead from anger, which ironically, the guest for today was going to speak to some of that, it's righteous anger. It's channeling that anger into productive change, which is leading from what we want, not from what we don't want. And that was a big thing for me to learn on my healing journey. I was walking around saying, well, I don't want a man like this. I don't want a job like that. I don't want a house like this. But if we don't state what we do want, we just keep kind of flailing around in the muck of what we don't want, right?
That's absolutely right. The other thing also that I want to bring up, and you taught me really well on this, is about the anger. It's like there's bad anger and then there's healthy anger. I mean, there is expressing it in a healthy way is really good, and everybody expresses anger totally different. So however it is, and with everything going on right now, with the protests and the riots and all that kind of stuff, that the anger is going to come out. but hopefully out of that anger comes some constructive developments. And that's what I've always envisioned anger as. Before, I used to be very afraid of expressing anger, or at least even saying that I'm angry. I mean, that used to be like a big trigger for me, and I'm getting better at it, where I might not express it like some people do, but I do at least acknowledge my anger, which is a very big step for me.
And it feels good to say, yes, I'm angry. Yes, I get angry. Mm-hmm. That bothered me.
Yeah, it's incredible how I don't even know the word. It's like how afraid I was of the word anger. It would bring up so much imagery for me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one where it brought imagery of my childhood. Or seeing how anger was being put into my life, and it was unhealthy anger. And then finally, I learned that there's a separate type of anger, and it's like, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. It made me look at things different. It even made me look at these protests differently. So yes. I've learned a lot because I'm learning about anger.
It's a great topic to talk about anger, because the difference between a protest and a riot is all about anger. Anger is what drove everyone to express their opinions this week.
Yep.
And to get out there by the thousands around the world, even with this virus going on, and say, screw the virus, screw my health. I want to go and raise my voice about this. I'm upset. I'm angry. Mm-hmm. But if we channel it in constructive ways, it's what changes the world. If we go and destroy, then nobody even takes our cause seriously. They're like, well, Who cares what they thought, because they went and trashed this place or that place. It actually dilutes your position.
It's really true. And the reason I was talking a little bit more about anger, because sometimes when we are going through change, anger comes up. Oh, I really wanted this. And it's back to those expectations. So rather than focusing on the anger of why it didn't happen, why don't we focus on it and go, what can I do about this? And just do that. Change the perspective in a way that it's no longer contrary to what you're doing, but now it's more of the river. So flow with it. If the river moved you to the right and you wanted to go to the left, all right, well, let's see what's here on the right. And then all of a sudden you find out that there's big fish here and you can capture good food.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting to recognize that anger is often the catch-all for a lot of other emotions that make us even less comfortable than anger. It's easier to feel angry than it is for me to admit, especially if I'm the head of the household or something, right? I'm a parent, or I'm the breadwinner. It's easier for me to get angry about the unknown than it is for me to admit I'm scared. I don't know what comes next. And the unknown is the call to faith. It's interesting to me how many people in our country and in the world profess to have faith of whatever kind. And yet, the minute we are plunged into the unknown, how is our faith? Are we thinking, oh, wow, I wonder what wonderful thing's going to happen next? Or do we instantly get terrified because some bad thing's going to happen because we don't trust that what we profess to have faith in is really going to take care of us?
And that's exactly what's going on right now. It's like, are we really going to be taken care of? Some believe that the government should do this. Some people believe that, oh, you should do it upon yourself. And everybody's right. and that is the answer. Everybody's right. Everybody's answer is the correct one, because that's the one that they're seeing for themselves.
Right.
And it's a matter of, once again, being okay with change and adapting, because not everybody's solution is your solution. My solution is not Cheryl's solution. Cheryl's solutions are not my solutions. But we both come to a point where we go, it's like, okay, we agreed that for the podcast, this is what we're going to do and this is what we're not going to do. And we have to give and take. And that's what it always is about, a compromise. Not everybody's going to get everything. Not everybody's going to get nothing. As long as you're willing to compromise.
Absolutely. It's very important.
And that's what adaptability is.
Yes. And there's another element that really helps when we're having all these emotions besides taking that break. And this is something that you have really helped bring into my life. And that is patience, because I had zero patience. the more I learn to step back for a minute and go, okay, maybe there's more going on here than what appears to be a crisis or what appears to be something horrible or unplanned or whatever. If I can be patient with it for a moment, I can often see an opportunity. I've been kind of wanting to get on here and chat about some of the things that I help my clients with, like embracing change, like how to face the unknown and see possibilities you haven't discovered yet. And now, because of this last minute cancellation, there was an opportunity in there for us to do just that. So, and Mario's always willing. So thank you, Mario.
I'm always in for the adventure. So, because everything that's the thing for me. It's the way I deal with change. I just see it as just an adventure. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I could get scared shitless about something, and excuse my language, but
sometimes the adventure sucks, but it's an adventure.
Yeah, it's an adventure. I mean, it's something new, something that I haven't experienced, and I used to be so afraid of that because I wanted things to always go well. I always wanted things to go right. And one of the things I realized is sometimes it might and sometimes it won't. But then after that, I have an experience to talk about.
It's true.
And it's fun.
And I like adventures, but I'm also a planner and a scheduler and an organized person. So I've got an idea of what my day's going to look like and what my life's going to look like. So I am right in the middle of that snow globe with you, if that's the way you are. And oh God, now what's happening? And the more I go through it, the more I experience this, the better I get at handling change. It's funny because if you've been in any kind of a spiritual ceremony, especially an entheogen ceremony, ayahuasca, whatever, which Mario and I have for sure, we've talked about that before. There's a point in the ceremony, you go in with an intention for something you want to work on. You go into the ceremony and the first thing that happens is chaos. The first thing that happens when the plant medicine starts to activate inside you or your intention starts to activate inside of you, whatever kind of ceremony you've done, breath work, whatever, the first thing to happen is the disintegration of all the expectations and ideas of what we thought it was supposed to look like. And then something beautiful can emerge. When we plant a garden, the first thing we do is go in and till the dirt. We got to get it all churned up and get it ready for or now they're saying that tilling's not necessarily good. So we bring in fresh dirt. Whatever we do, we have to disrupt the area and make it really ideal for planting. And then we can put the seeds in and water and watch them grow. The same thing for us. We are getting disintegrated. We are in the purging phase of the ayahuasca ceremony on earth right now. And it just keeps going and going and going. We think we're through it. Something else comes up and we're all purging again. We're purging anger. We're purging the way we thought things were. We thought we'd worked through that already. And there it is on the news again. Right? It's really interesting what's happening right now. And I think the ceremonies have helped me embrace it. But it's also good to have a spiritual person in your life like Mario and I do to talk through these shakeups because there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah. I mean, you don't even have to go to plant ceremonies or anything like that. I mean, you can go into meditation. I mean, think about meditation. What's the first thing that you're doing in meditation? Your mind chatters like blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut up in there. We all go through it. And I mean, when we're starting a new class, how do you feel? It's like, it's really nervous. You know, it's like, oh, great. You have that excitement of a new class. Well, I do. And then we have the excitement of what's going to happen. And then it's like, oh, then you're in that confusion stage. It's like, what in the hell did I get myself into?
True.
But it's in everything. It's when you buy the new car, you expect it to work perfectly, and then when it doesn't work perfectly, you're bitching about that it doesn't work perfectly.
Yep.
So there's so many ways to see in life how you can see it, and it's all over us. It's just a matter of stepping back, slowing down, and really looking at the situation.
And it's funny how we handle change. There's the planners. Okay, I realize a big change is coming. I've got to go out and I've got to buy all this stuff because we might run out. And the
toilet paper.
The thing I noticed about that is that is a never-ending rabbit hole.
Yes.
If I go in that rabbit hole, before long, I'm going, but then what happens after that? And then what happens after that? And no, I'm not sure I've got enough of that. Chicken noodle soup.
Yep, that was me.
So there's the planners, And then there's, of course, Chicken Little, the sky's falling, and they're running around and they're not doing much of anything because they have no idea what to do. It's funny. So who are you when the heat's turned up? Who are you when something big is happening? How do you tend to handle change? And it's interesting to me when I studied about human development and psychology and all of that. Typically, we develop some of these patterns in our childhood. Whether they serve us well or not, we learn a certain pattern for how to handle change. And that's what we tend to go to as our default until we write a new program. And that's some of the work that I do with clients, is helping you write a new program. If you're aware of what you do during change and how it's not necessarily beneficial for you anymore, we can write a new program. We can develop new habits and responses so that what you do when the heat is turned up is most beneficial for you.
And it helps out a lot being able to kind of slow down, in my opinion. And everybody's going to be different. That slowdown looks different for everybody. It's not, once again, it's like Cheryl and I. I like to use us because we're opposites in so many things. Mm-hmm. And the way Cheryl handles something is not the way I handle it. And they both work.
And it's good to have a balance with someone, because if we all went really slow, then some of those fast action right now things that need to happen don't get done. But if we're all fast action, then those slower things that you have to slow down and really think through and allow to see the consequences, that needs to be happening as well. So it's great to have a balance. Hopefully you've got someone in your life that helps you balance. If it's not your life partner, then definitely call on that best friend when something's going on and get that other voice so that you have a more expanded perspective. I call my business Journey of Possibilities because that's kind of something that I innately do, is see what's possible. And Mario can get frustrated with that because if I'm all out here in possibilities, he's like, okay, we got to pick something. But where that comes in handy is being able to have a brainstorming partner to see if you're in a crisis, if you're in a financial situation you didn't plan to be in, or a career situation you didn't plan for, or any situation right now that you didn't plan for. It's very beneficial to be able to sit down with someone and explore the possibilities, because there is probably more available to you than what you see. We tend to get tunnel vision. Well, I've got to do this or that. How often do you hear that? Well, now that my bank account's all screwed up, I'm either going to have to get another job or I'm going to have to cut a bunch of cards off and not have anything anymore. There's a million possibilities, and I just instinctively see those. So if you're stuck in something, reach out to me and we can help you figure out what else is possible that you haven't even realized yet. It's very freeing to recognize all the choices that you have available to you.
Yeah, because we get caught up in that, I don't have any other choice. Well, you do. You know, because out of all the choices that you have, the one that everybody forgets, you have the choice not to do it.
Exactly.
So you always have a choice. So if you're saying, I never have a choice, yes, you do. You have the choice of not doing it.
I don't have a choice. I got to go to work. Well, you have a million choices. You could create your own personal revenue stream. You could go to that job. You could go to another job. You could not work at all. You may not like what that would do, but it is a choice that's available to you, like Mario was just saying. What's another one I hear a lot? Well, that's the partner. That's my husband. That's my wife. I'm stuck with them, and I don't really feel like going through a divorce. Well, there's a lot you can do within the context of that relationship to change things. It's not an all or nothing. For some reason, we tend to go black and white, all or nothing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, black and whites. And, I like to see the whole spectrum between the black and the white. There's gray. There's different shades of gray. There's different shades of white. There's different shades of black. There's different.
Exactly.
So there's not just black, gray, and white.
True.
There is so much more in between. I mean, look at a black and white movie. Look how many
shades of
gray make the imagery. So if you're black and white, then what's up with all the in between?
Yeah, exactly. So possibilities are about the full spectrum of what possibilities are available to you. And then it's finding that patience, getting centered in your peace, your inner peace, and being able to make the best choice for you from that place. That's really what living in the unknown is. And we used to have to do it when we'd change jobs, or if we'd change life partners, or if we'd change whatever. Now we have to do it every day with what's going on in the world.
I know. It seems like hour by hour, it seems to be changing. And all of this leads up to being okay with change.
Exactly.
I mean, because once you see that you do have a choice, once you see at least some of the choices, and once you see that you have options, it really does make the decision, while it might get a little frustrating knowing that you have that many choices now, at least now you know you can pick from one of them, and you know what? Just roll a dice sometimes and see, and go on the adventure and see that one that makes you uneasy.
Mm-hmm. And again, I come up with, what if the best thing happens? You know, for so long I was like, oh, but what if this goes wrong? What if I mean, when I went through a financial crisis, it was, what if I lose my house? What am I going to do if I lose my house? My friends got so sick of hearing that. And why would I go there? Why wouldn't I say, what if I get a big contract? What if I get really busy? What if, and by the way, that's what happened. But not as long as I was running around crying, saying, what if I lose my house? What if I lose my house? Why do we expect that the worst is going to happen when the universe wants to give us the best? And I have clients tell me, but it's always gone bad for me. Well, you're here with me right now, and we're talking about greater possibilities. So it hasn't always gone bad. Something turned for us to end up together, and it's going to continue to turn. But the law of attraction says what I focus my energy on is what I attract to me. If I am always looking for bad to happen, I am calling it to me over and over and over again. So in this time of great change, what if all of this is to help us create an amazing earth? I believe it is. I really do. I
agree. And there's a reason all of this is coming up. I mean, even astrologically, we're going to have a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse at the same time in the same month. And for you astrologers out there, you know, this month is like also a pretty big month too. So, but it seems like the whole 2020, even the numerology said, expect a lot of the unexpected, because
zeros.
It's the zeros. It's all possibilities.
Zeros are the unknown.
The best place to be.
I've come to agree with you. I have come to agree with you. And I would challenge you this, listener. If you can sit with what if and work through all the squirmy stuff that comes up in your guts and say, what if the best can happen? Your life will transform. And I can help you work through the squirmy stuff, because it's all stuff that happened from our past. Bad things happen that make us afraid they're going to happen again. We remember the last time we didn't have a job, this went wrong, or that went wrong, or the last time we broke up with a partner, this horrible thing happened. And so we start to expect that to recur, but that's the past. Leave it there.
You always hear about living in the present moment, and I have this discussion with a lot of people. The present moment means that it doesn't mean that you're not thinking about the future or you're not thinking about the past. But what it means to me is that the past is in the past. So when you look at the past, you go, oh yeah, I remember when I used to do that. In the present moment, oh, I don't do that. And in the future moment, you're always going, well, what if I this? What if that? And that's, if you're always in the what if, or I used to be, then you're not living in the present moment.
That's right. So if I can help you through this time of great change and the unknown that has become our new reality, we wondered what the new world would look like. Welcome to not knowing where to put your feet. Welcome to the fun house where it's always shifting and moving. Welcome to the new world where change is the norm. I would love to help you. You can contact me. Go to CherylSitz.com and you'll see my services there. Book a session with me. In a half hour, an hour, we can do amazing things to open up and unlock new possibilities and see where some of the recurring patterns are. I pick up a lot of things in our chat about, did you notice that you actually expect negativity? Did you notice that you aren't loving yourself? Did you notice things that are going on for you that are actually sabotaging your happiness and your success? So I'd love to work with you with that. Mario loves to help men do the same thing. We have the same training, the same background. We would love to help you through this time. You don't have to do this on your own.
No, that's the whole thing. And I'm at mariorosales.com, and you can reach out to me. I work with men that are sometimes dealing with some of the stuff. I used to go through the whole thing about what is a man and all that kind of stuff. And I had to be in my unknown place of what was a man too. And that took a few years to go through. And now I feel very comfortable with who I am now.
And lost in video games and some of the things that guys do. That's a
Yep.
guy thing. Like, he's always on the video game. He won't talk to me. He won't do whatever. Well, maybe that's because when he's not on the video game, there's something going on that makes him uncomfortable. And Mario's great at helping guys work through that stuff. We work with couples as well. Yep. We're putting together some events and things so that when the world is ready to connect again, we're ready for it. And we miss the drumming circles, being able to do those, but it just hasn't been a safe thing right now. So safety first.
Yeah, we tried virtual drumming circles, and
that didn't work.
That didn't work. I mean, yeah.
That was a cacophony.
Yeah, even just how the word sounds, that's exactly how it felt.
So thank you for joining us today. I'm kind of tickled that our guest wasn't able to make it because this has been a timely topic and a fun thing to chat with you about. And always drop us a note if there's something you'd like to hear us talk about on the show, something that we're not covering that you're dealing with right now that would be helpful. Let us know. You can do that at journeyofpossibilities.com. There's contact forms all over the website. And while you're there, please show us some love. We do invest a lot of ourselves into this show, and we would love to have some form of appreciation from you. Like us on your favorite platform where you're listening to us. Send us some love at journeyofpossibilities.com/support.
And mariosales.com over here too.
Yes, definitely, because he does so much work. And if you would like to be putting yourself out there in a bigger way, I can help you with the messaging and the getting clear how to blend your passions to make a bigger difference. Mario is great at the actual putting yourself out there. YouTube, social media, websites. What else, dear?
I teach you how to do it.
Yes, you do.
I mean, I can do it for you, but, then you're going to be spending money every month. And being an entrepreneur, I know how much that can be a drain, especially right now. It's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was what my biggest business at the very beginning of all this COVID thing is teaching people how to do it. And I'm glad that I can give that. And I do speak in English, not geek.
Yes, he turns geek into English or Spanish. And it's interesting to me that he can even remote into your computer so he can be watching what you're doing. That's with your permission, of course. He doesn't do it without you asking. You have to give permission. He can remote in and watch what you're doing and say, no, click over there to the right, go down to this. And he can walk you through doing it yourself so that you can actually learn while he's there to ask questions. It's so helpful if you want to design your own website, try to put together a podcast, anything that you might want to do. He's a great resource for you.
And that's also being comfortable with change.
Yes, exactly. Mario, thanks for joining me today. This was fun.
This is fun. Thank you so much.
And it's CherylSitz.com and MarioRosales.com. Check us out online. Give us a holler. We'd love to hear from you. And we will see you next time on Exploring Possibilities.